What's up, guys? Not in the normal office right now, but wanted to make a quick video because there's a lot of news going around right now in terms of Chainlink, Swift partnership, potentially replacing XRP, and just a lot of people really paying attention to this and thinking it's some kind of big negative for XRP. In this video, I want to talk about whether or not XRP and Swift are done, where Chainlink comes into the mix, what Chainlink does that's different than XRP, and sort of how XRP still fits into the equation. So to start off, it's really important to talk about what Chainlink does. Chainlink is a decentralized oracle network. Essentially what it does is it passes information from one party to the next in a decentralized way. Now, what's really important to understand about this is it's not ultimately settlement. What it is messaging, right? It's Swift 3.0. It allows institutions to message with one another back and forth, pass information, and allows that information to be readily available. But if you take a look at what Swift and Chainlink are really doing, it really tells a much different story from what you're seeing in the headline. One of the main things that Swift is working with Chainlink to do is actually connect to blockchain networks. Now, if Chainlink was doing everything that XRP was doing, plus more, what would be the point in connecting to a blockchain network? What Swift doesn't do that XRP does is XRP settles payments, right? It settles value. It allows that value to ultimately be settled instantaneously for fractions of a penny. This is what Chainlink is not doing. Chainlink is passaging the messaging back and forth to essentially make the old system interoperable with the new system, but what it doesn't do is actually handle the net settlement of those transactions. This is a very different use case than what XRP is doing. And funny enough, it's actually critical to getting XRP mass adoption. A couple of months ago, we actually saw Brad Garlinghouse and the head of Chainlink, Sergey, at a conference together, and Brad Garlinghouse was commenting on how great what Chainlink was doing. He's not saying this because Chainlink is some massive competition for Ripple and going to dominate XRP. Instead, the reason why he was actually pointing this out was because what Chainlink is doing is critical to get XRP to mass adoption. Chainlink relies on other protocols being successful, and if you saw a lot of the news headlines, it doesn't really look like that, right? It looks like, oh, Chainlink is the winner, therefore nothing else is going to succeed. No, it's a multi-part equation. This is the exact reason why they talked about using Chainlink to connect to the underlying blockchain services, because these other blockchains are going to handle the net settlement, the DeFi, the lending, the tokenization, all these different things. But what Chainlink is doing is creating the Oracle feed to allow these things to happen. Now, another very interesting comment that came up on my newsfeed was someone asking a question. This is a person I respect a lot. They're very smart, but they're a little bit newer into some of these other cryptocurrencies. And he said, hey, if Chainlink just landed this massive partnership with Swift, why is it only 1/10 of the price of XRP? And when he's saying that, he means the overall market cap of the projects, right? He's saying Swift is some financial giant, multi-trillion-dollar movement, cross borders, you know all that. But what he was asking is, hey, why, if this partnership is so big and such a big deal and such a new development in the blockchain world, why is XRP still worth so much more? And it goes to the exact thing we were just talking about. What Chainlink is doing is providing information. It's an information feed. It allows people to relay information from one party to another. But when it comes down to value, right, that's when we get into the underlying tokens here. The Chainlink token really doesn't play a part in the movement of value. Instead, it's essentially a way to pay for Chainlink services, right? It's essentially a, hey, well, I can either pay with cash or I can pay with a link token, and there's some incentives to pay with a link token. There's some back-end mechanisms that use the link token for certain things when it comes to their Oracle network, but it's not a critical part of the decentralized network. Instead, it was kind of added on to provide, in my opinion, utility for the link token. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not bad. It's just a different use case. What XRP is being used for is liquidity for the underlying settlement of value. We're talking about XRP being critical and native to the XRP ledger and completely decentralized, no issuer. This is very different from what Chainlink is doing, and it's a very different value proposition for the link token in comparison to XRP. And when you ask the question of why is Chainlink worth so much less than XRP despite this new partnership between Swift and Chainlink, you have to ask the question, well, the market realizes that, right? The market understands that the Chainlink token might not nearly be as useful as Chainlink's Oracle network. While in XRP's case, the XRP token is fundamentally critical to the settlement of value in how Ripple is using it and to the XRP ledger. So just because one network is focusing on something that is similar to what another network might be looking to focus on, it doesn't mean that there can't be multiple counterparties all working together to create this new system. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see. You see it all the time in the legacy internet world. Take a look at what Amazon is doing. Amazon relies on Google. Google relies on Amazon. They're all using NVIDIA's chips, right? All these different companies all have their own niche, and they're all doing something extremely important and extremely valuable. But no one company or no one protocol can do everything all at one given time. Recreating the traditional financial system is something that's going to require probably 25 to 30 different protocols minimum. And relaying messaging and relaying data, that's what an Oracle network is made for. The settlement of value, that's what a layer 1 blockchain is made for. So two very different use cases for these cryptocurrency networks. Now, when you get into the usefulness of the cryptocurrency itself, that's where I have more questions about the Chainlink token. Now, personally, full disclosure, I've owned Chainlink for a very long time. When I first got involved in crypto and I was trying to learn, someone recommended it, I bought it, I never sold it, and I just have that OG bag I had from literally day one learning about crypto. But when you actually look at the fundamentals of the protocols, right, and this is kind of why I haven't continued to purchase Chainlink token. This is why every day on YouTube I don't come up and talk about Chainlink token. When it comes to how the token is integrated into the network, I've always had a bit of a problem with how the Chainlink token is integrated into the Chainlink Oracle network. In my opinion, from what it looks like, and these things can change, they can get better, the Chainlink team is amazing and they're going to figure it out. But ultimately, the Chainlink token is really just a transaction mechanism that's optional for institutions that could be using Chainlink's data feeds, right? Institutions want the data feeds. They want that data. The data is important. And they are going to come in and pay for it. But some of them might not want to pay with Chainlink token, right? They might want to pay for something else. The problem I have with Chainlink is that link token is not critical other than, in my opinion, gamification by making it critical, right? They say, okay, well, you can use Chainlink to pay for this and you'll get a discount and some of these transactions will go through Chainlink, which is fine, but it's not a critical part of the network. It's not a decentralized asset. It was an issued asset. It was issued by Chainlink. The rules can change. And that's just a very different makeup from what makes XRP so special. What makes XRP so special is that the XRP ledger couldn't exist without it. It's critical utility to the XRP ledger network. Without XRP, the XRP ledger wouldn't exist. And the XRP ledger is the leading settlement mechanism when it comes to these financial transactions. So I think you have to take a step back when you look at stuff like this and really understand there is a core difference in what these protocols are trying to achieve. And the market is assigning a different level of value to what one protocol is trying to achieve versus what another protocol is trying to achieve. In my opinion, the market is looking at Chainlink and seeing it as immensely valuable and seeing that Chainlink's Oracle network is going to be a huge success and likely the most important Oracle network in crypto. With that said though, right, take a step back. What does the market think of that? It seems like to me the market is having a hard time assigning the value of the Chainlink token in this Oracle network, right? They've got this really cool system. They have to figure out how to integrate the Link token more. We're going to value this highly in comparison to the rest of the cryptocurrency industry, but it's so much different than something like XRP, which is a layer 1 decentralized native asset being used to settle value as its core utility on the XRP ledger protocol. Unlike Chainlink, the XRP ledger could not exist without XRP. The Chainlink Oracle network could, and it could change, and they could move those things around. So it's so important to understand that these are very different networks doing very different things and different levels of utility for the underlying token. We're going to continue to see projects trying to do similar things to XRP, different things than XRP. And some might have a place, some might be knockoff bad copycats. But you need to understand that Ripple is in the position they are in right now because they've been a leader in this industry since day one. They have seen it all. They know what works, they know what doesn't work, they know what's important, they know what's not important. And in my opinion, they have always been over the money with how they are approaching this. Focus on the critical utility of what a cryptocurrency does, which is instantaneous settlement of value. This is something the Chainlink Oracle network doesn't do. And certainly, Chainlink token is not used to do these things. So at the end of the day, is this partnership bad for XRP? Is it bad for? Absolutely not. In my opinion, it gets us so much closer to people, like the biggest money movement providers on earth, actually being able to use these protocols for their full intended use case. Guys, if Chainlink was just going to replace everything and everyone was going to use Chainlink, why would Chainlink be hooking Swift up to other blockchains? Ask yourself that, and you'll start to really understand that Chainlink is about data, XRP is about value. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update, and for now, Mickle out.